Okay, everyone, let's do a couple problems solving quadratics by factoring. So take a look at 15 from today's worksheet. What a god-awful mess this is, right? Well, let's organize it a little bit. For example, couldn't I go ahead and add 6a squared to both sides? In other words, I want to get my a squareds together over here, right? And so now we're left with a squared, because 6 minus 5, that right there, 6 minus 5 is 1, a squared, minus 7a minus 40 equals negative 4a. Now let's get rid of negative 4a, right? Let's go ahead and add 4a to both sides. So we're going to add 4a to both sides, and so a squared, negative 7 and 4 is negative 3a minus 40 equals 0. And remember, we want it to equal 0. That's the only way we can solve it when it's equal to 0. And we could do the quadratic formula, but there's a quicker, better way on this one. Let's factor a squared. That's a times a. Let's factor the 40. Isn't 40 8 times 5? And how do I get a negative 3 couldn't I do negative 8 plus 5 to get the negative 3? And if that equals 0, which it does, I know right here 8 minus 8 is 0. And right here, negative 5 plus 5 is 0. So we would say our roots, also known as the x-intercept, like the roots of a tree, are x equals 8 and x equals negative 5. Those are our roots. Pause the video if you need to. Now remember, guys, if you take notes, you can use this on the next quiz coming up next week, and also give you a little extra credit on your packet of work that you turned in. Okay, so here we go. Let's do one more, number 16. Now notice I have everything on the left almost set up perfectly. It just needs to equal 0 over here, right? So let's get rid of that negative 6x squared with a plus 6x squared. And 6 minus 5 is 1x squared. We have a minus 11x plus 30 equal to, and of course we made that go to 0. It's equal to 0. That's what we want. Let's go ahead and factor the left side. So x squared is x times x. It does equal 0. Remember that. Now what about 30? So one thing we've discussed in class is, remember, 30 is 3 times 10. But if I do, 3 minus 10, that's negative 7, right? If I did 3 plus 10, that would be 13. I want a negative 11x. So 3 times 10 is no good. But what about 6 times 5? 6 times 5 is 30. And how do I get negative 11? I just do negative 6, negative 5. Negative 6 and negative 5 is negative 11. And of course, negative times negative is positive 30. I have it factored correctly. And now I can solve it. I know 6 minus 6 is 0. I know 5 minus 5 is 0. And those, again, guys, are referred to as our roots, like the roots of a tree. And that is how you solve quadratics by factoring.